Hey, Dudes and Dudettes, Mr. Theorist here, and welcome back. Things look very different, don't they? Things are very different. I am slightly giddy and a little bit freaked out because my partner is behind the camera, unlike usual. I have a new kind of setup, maybe, for these kind of videos anyway. And yes, so I'll just jump straight in. Otherwise I'm going to ramble for ages. This video, as you can tell probably by the thumbnail and the title, I don't quite know what I'm calling them yet, but this is a Multiverse Theory. This is Multiverse Theory on the WandaVision TV series and also the Marvel Cinematic, Fox Cinematic, Sony Cinematic, the Marvel character universe. And more specifically, how WandaVision is probably helping to bleed the universes together, or at least let Marvel grab and pick and take who they want from each of their universes. So I'm just going to jump straight in. I have a diagram because it's complex and I think it's easier with visual representation. And yes, we will jump straight into it. So before I do all the random squiggly stuff, we'll talk about what WandaVision is. If you haven't already seen it, I recommend you really do. But the idea is that it is a TV show with Wanda and Vision from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Wanda is also known as Scarlet Witch, if you know about that, and essentially it's kind of like a sitcom, but it's travelling through the different eras and the different styles of sitcom that each era kind of had. But it turns out that's not really the plot, as we all basically knew, but actually there's a more sinister idea behind it, that someone is controlling this world. And potentially it might be Wanda or it might be someone else. Now my theory isn't going to be on who is the villain of WandaVision. It is purely going to be based on the idea of why I think Marvel is doing to kind of bridge the universes that they want together. Spoiler warning, this will be discussing the latest episode, which is episode 5? This is episode 5, isn't it? Yes, of WandaVision, where, spoiler warning, I'll give you 10 seconds to dip away if you've not already seen it. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're still here, then you don't mind about spoilers. That Quicksilver, Scarlet Witch's twin brother, turned up in this episode. But it's not specifically the Quicksilver from the Marvel Cinematic Universe that died in Age of Ultron. This is Quicksilver from the Fox Universe. But weirdly, he knows it's Scarlet Witch, even though Scarlet Witch wasn't his twin, if I remember, from the Fox Universe. She was younger than him. But he still kind of reacts the same way. So that makes me wonder what's really going on. So, yeah. I'm going to hop in now to what I think is really going on, and we will get on with this. So, a few things first, before we go anywhere. The idea of multiverse theory, or at least one version of the multiverse theory, as a whole in our real universe, is that universes are like this. Can that be seen? Yeah. Each of these lines represents a universe. This could be ours. This could be one where, I don't know, instead of me being a man, I am Mrs. Theorist. When this would be universe number 2. And in this universe, I could be a dog in universe 3. And so on and so forth, and there are more subtle versions of how a universe could differ from itself. But that's kind of the multiverse theory, is that each of them are layered almost on top of each other, and they coexist, but we can't visualize another universe because we exist in our universe. Now, in the WandaVision TV series, they are suggesting that Wanda has created her own pocket universe. Now, this universe seems to exist on top of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, what I'm going to suggest is that maybe what they're going to do and how they're going to set up how the characters from other universes are going to come in and how Quicksilver is coming is if we imagine that moving my board here, that this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe, this is the Fox Universe, this is kind of the Sony Universe, but only in the way that all the villains from the Sony Universe exist kind of in themselves. And also this is the non-existent Fantastic Four universe. So we have the Marvel universe, we have Fox's universe, and we have Sony villain universe. Now, from what we gather so far is that Wanda's little pocket sitcom universe exists here, on top of Marvel's universe. But I think actually what it is more like is that Wanda's universe exists like this, like a corridor universe between all of them. And this is why Quicksilver from the Fox universe has come into the Marvel universe. Because it's a corridor. Like the sitcom, even though it's this really simplistic kind of idea, what it actually is really complex science. Is that it looks like it just kind of sits on top of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but that's only because we can visualize our universe. We, the people, do kind of exist in the Marvel Universe, even though the Marvel Universe is kind of a TV show. But because of there's more scientific explanation for it, is we see our universe like this, and other universes might see their universe like this. We can't visualize the universe like this, so we can only see it like this. So imagine kind of the Marvel universe is basically like this. It kind of exists like we do. But other universes exist in these weird squiggly styles. So basically what I'm suggesting is that Quicksilver, because he's corridored into the Marvel universe, he's kind of, because of the way the visualizations work is, he's like visualizing his sister as he would visualize his sister, so he can comprehend, because he's not from our universe at the moment. But I'll get to that in a second. So he sees Scarlet Witch, but he doesn't see Scarlet Witch as we see Scarlet Witch. He sees Scarlet Witch as they see Scarlet Witch. But because Wanda is the creator of this corridor universe, because she is like the battery to this universe, she can still visualize Quicksilver as the Fox universe Quicksilver, not Pietro as she would see him. And obviously, because we are, even though we exist kind of in the Marvel universe, we're not really in the Marvel universe, we are almost omnipotent. We are almost like gods to that universe. So we can kind of visualize that this Quicksilver is from a different universe. And maybe because also it's only people in this universe that are affected visually by those ideas, maybe, or people that come from this universe into these ones are affected, because we do know that, what's her name? Darcy? Is Darcy? Is that the science girl from Thing? Yeah, she recognises that Quicksilver's being recast. Obviously, she only exists in the Marvel universe, so she doesn't know, hang on, that's a Quicksilver from another universe. She just sees it as a different face. She doesn't actually notice that it's actually a different Quicksilver. So, what do I think is going to happen? Well, what I think is really going to happen at the very end of all of this is it's either going to go one of two ways. One way I really don't think it's going to happen, and that is that each universe is eventually going to collapse, and we're just going to get this weird new universe that will exist with the Marvel universe, with the Fox universe, with the Sony villain universe, and obviously the Fantastic Four universe. Like, that can't really happen though, because I guess it could. If they suggest that the Sony villains exist in a different universe to, obviously, Spider-Man, because it's going to have to be. Maybe it doesn't. This is the thing. This is what's interesting. Is maybe the Sony villains do exist in the Spider-Man universe, because they've not explicitly stated they haven't, but you feel enough that they are. And I think that either this is going to happen, that eventually they're going to all bleed into one, but I don't think Sony will have that. Obviously, Fox is owned by Marvel now, but Sony isn't owned by Marvel yet. We know it's going to happen. We all know it's going to happen. So this theory might happen at some point in the future, but it might more be that it's kind of like this. It's a universe where things that can exist inside it, like we have the Marvel Universe, the Fox Universe, and the Fantastic Four Universe, but then different things can come in, like the Sony Villain Universe, or I don't know, any other marketing ideas that have come in that maybe haven't been officially canonised into the Marvel Universe, but they could come into the multiverse. Like, obviously, we might then start getting visual representations of the different universes existing. Like, obviously, they are straight lines because they're laid on top of each other, but in the comics, they usually represent them as different Earths. So, yeah, that's probably what's going to be happening here, is that Wanda has accidentally created a corridor universe here, which is going to help bleed all of them together. And it means that by the end of what a lot of fans are dubbing as the trilogy, which is WandaVision, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and Spider-Man 3. This is what the fans are dubbing as the new trilogy, and I think by the end of this point, after Spider-Man 3, because it's the last one that's going to be released, is that's where we're going to get our finalised idea. Because we know there are heavy rumours that in Spider-Man 3 we are having Doctor Strange and Wanda are both going to be in these films. So it's kind of a heavy hint that probably by this point, whatever the main plot of that film's going to be, it's probably going to mostly be to help create this, the all connecting universe of the Fox, Marvel, and the Fantastic Four. So by the end of that trilogy, we're going to get a very clear idea of how the multiverse theory works and how all of this randomness, it will all interconnect to do with the sitcom that is WandaVision. And that, guys, is kind of my crazy man's way of thinking about how I think the multiverse is going to be explained in the Marvel Universe. I hope you have enjoyed this really, really rambly, chaotic theory, and if you have, guys, please let me know, because I'd love to do kind of more of these videos. I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope it's coherent enough, and I'll catch you all in the next video. I'm so glad to be back.